didn't write it. I couldn't really get into it at all, and was Peggy Sue Got Married. And finally, I looked at it and I said, this is like Thornton Wilder's Our Town. Thornton Wilder has the famous, some of you know it as a play, maybe Our Town, where they visit the time of the past, so you get to see your grandparents when they were alive, and it's that second view of life. And once I knew that, then I could make Peggy Sue Got Married, because it would have the feeling of Thornton Wilder to it, and I could fall in love with that. So you always have, even when it's an adaptation, you have to find something in the the original, that you can make your own.
You had several Academy Awards during the 70s, and also you're one of the few directors who had 2 Golden Palms. And the French connection has always been quite strong, and you're very popular in France still, even in your most previous films. Do you feel the same for French films and French audience?
Well, France and Paris in particularly is probably the most enthusiastic about cinema of any place I've been. They love films, although, you know, it's a universal language. And yes, I admire many French. The French have a unique sense of art and design. I mean, look at the Citroën car, that DS. I mean, who thought of that? It's a kind of masterpiece. Or French, you know, Italian engineering is spectacular, but so is French, except it always has its own take on it. You know, I mean, look at the Dassault airplane and all the whole French cinema from early times, Renoir and the great surrealistic film. So yes, but I admire the films of the world. I mean, look, a man like Kurosawa made probably 9 masterpieces. It's one thing to make a masterpiece, what a privilege to make a film that it all, because we in the performing arts depend on the collaboration with artists, and no filmmaker does it alone. You know, it's the success of everyone being at their best, and but to do it like Kurosawa, to do it so many times, it's astounding.
Yeah. When you came back in the film industry, sort of 10 years ago, you made it with Youth Without Youth and Etro, which is quite central, because youth is overall very central in your career. How much inspiration did you get from your own daughter Sophia and her successes with Lost in Translation?
Well, I never hesitate to speak to students and young people, because it's true, you learn as much from them, every bit as much as you might be able to give them. And having children, and I always loved children. Maybe it was partly because there was a time when I didn't have any children in my life as a kid. But I became a camp counselor, you know, in the summer when the children get sent off to summer camp. I was always the drama counselor. I would get a job to make plays with little 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds and so on. And my own children, I told my wife one rule I had is that if I ever had a job that made me go away from home, that if it was more than 2 weeks, I was taking the kids out of school and taking them with us, which was a very good rule, because sometimes you go off, you think you're going to be gone for 5 months and you're gone for 2 years. So I always had the kids with me, and that made us kind of a circus, you know, like a Chinese circus family. That my kids, since they were there, we'd have to put them in the film. If you need an infant, Sophia was the infant in The Godfather, because we had to have a newly born baby, and just around when she was born. Or if you look at my films during that period, there's always some little kid that's either Sophia or Roman or Gio. But as a result, those kids were raised as much by the film crew as by us. So their uncles were the art director, and the costume department would make clothes for Sophia's dolls. So they really had a first-hand experience. And so of course it was natural that they all wanted to make. Even my granddaughter, I have a 29 year-old granddaughter, Gia,